Now, I hope you don't think I'm overstepping, but it seems to me you've been a little bit weighed down lately. Like you've just been kind of knotted up in all of life's complications, in all these things you've had to do, and all of these burdens that you carry, and it's just all kind of coalesced into this massive gunk that's just been kind of weighing you down. Do you think that might be right? Well, I think what we can do for you this evening is a little bit of what's called untethering. Untethering, as distinct from cord cutting. Cord cutting. Cord cutting is a little more aggressive, far more specific. We have an idea of what these cords are and we want to cut them away. Untethering is a little more gentle. We have no specific things in mind when we untether. It's a little more softer, it's a little more organic. We're just going to untangle you like headphones. Remember untangling headphones? That was a thing. Untangling headphones rather than cutting straight through, because what good would that be? We just want to gently untangle you in a little bit of a soft, meditative kind of way. Not focusing on what you're leaving behind, but just focusing on where you're going, where you're rising up to. How does that sound? Wonderful. Wonderful. Then we'll get started, yes? Good. Well, let me just take in your aura then. Well, you see, that's the thing. It's kind of coming off in threads. It's just, the aura is influenced by the way you're thinking, you see. That should go without saying. It comes up in little threads following your thoughts, and these are just kind of coming down. They're getting knotted. Your whole chakra system should be flowing up nice in a big eggshell shape, which indicates a placid mind, one that is not simple per se, but is at peace with its thoughts. Yours is knotting up. Threads from up here are coming down here, and they're all getting tangled, and it's all just getting a bit of a mess. So why don't we just come in? We're just going to soothe around here with a little bit of selenite. With a little bit of selenite, we're just going to kind of straighten it out. Just straighten it out initially. And while I'm doing this, I want you to take a deep breath in for the earth beneath you. And another deep breath in for the sky above you. And a final deep breath in for the seas surrounding you. Good. Feel that energy, this new energy, fresh, new from the earth, rising up through your feet, coming up, gently warming your knees, your thighs, the base of your spine, pulling just around your solar plexus, and unburdening that heart, soothing the throat, relaxing the jaw, opening the ears, opening the sinuses, refreshing the eyes, and enriching the hair, because you're worth it. Good, wonderful, 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 wonderful. It's not soothing the knots, but it is making them a little bit more pliable. It's just opening things up, you see, opening things up, opening them up, opening them up, opening them up. Initially, I want to give you a little bit of lapis lazuli, and new jade. Nice complementary colors. New jade, lapis lazuli with little flecks of gold. These are going to go around your throat chakra. There are little shells behind you. Just going to place them on either side. They are going to harmonize, come together, close, and really open up the throat, because that's what we're looking at. Communication. 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 Because when you can speak of these complications, that is what's really going to unknot them. And to aid in this, I'm going to give you Gort. 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 The ivy. The ivy. The ivy. The ivy. The ivy. Which, of course, knots itself around trees and chokes them. It is incredible in nature how like treats like. Remember that. How like treats like. When we think of the ivy, we think of a strangling thing. It's beautiful in its own way, I suppose, but more importantly, yes, strangling. Can topple trees. It's generally a nuisance. In spiritual terms, what we're talking about is the knots around your throat that prevent you from speaking your truth, from speaking of these complications that have allowed them to fester in such a way that they're now burdening you and bringing you down. We're using this to treat those complications, those little lumps in your throat. If you take ivy leaves and you dry them in the oven for a little while, and then you ground them up in a pestle and mortar and put them in a tea, it'll do wonders, this tea, for any kind of throat trouble that you have. It's wonderful for relaxing the throat muscles and all little bronchioles, etc. It soothes lung problems, it soothes breathing issues, it relaxes your airways. Funny, isn't it? Gort. Treating you with that symbol now, coming in, Gort. Two little lines here. Just cutting down, putting that into you, Gort. Focus on the ivy. Because, while it does knot up, it also ascends, ever ascends, climbing higher and higher. That's what I want to do with you. Now, I want to bring you out of yourself. Rise higher and higher. Doesn't matter what the foundation is. Just think of the goal. Higher, higher. It doesn't mind what it leaves behind itself, the ivy. It just strives upward toward the light. Upward and upward and upward. We want you to get out of yourself. Leave yourself behind. You need a little new perspective. Rising up, rising up, rising up. Going ever forward, not looking back. Wonderful. And while we're rising, I want you to keep in your mind this idea that as we get taller and bigger, our minds kind of become smaller and a little more compacted. When we're little of body, we are very big and expansive of mind. We take everything in. When we are big of body, we usually get smaller of mind, and we get set in our ways and not so open to the world. I want you to, at this point, really focus on expanding. Make this the day of the expanding man or woman. Expand your mind. You can't change your body. You can't change your mind. Just open up to the world. Get to the top of the tree. Have a new outlook. Look toward the horizon. Look toward the mountains. Look towards the clouds and the shining sun. Good. Wonderful. Rising up. I want to put into you the Zonar symbol, which comes around in a Z and is the infinity symbol as well. Infinity, kind of masked by a Z. This is going to work on the cellular level, energizing your cells, ridding them of past complaints, but at the same time, giving you all the help of the ancestors. Wonderful. Think green for me. Green and new and expansive and growing and growing and growing like a new spring. Calling in the ancestors as well. A cellular level. At the cellular level. And we're going to put in Hon Sha Ze Shan and the Reiki distance symbol as well, because we want you, now you're rising up and up and up, to go on this little journey. Just this little expansive journey. Okay. Hon Sha Ze Shan. Because growth, any kind of growth, is a journey. I've always kind of admired that little jellyfish that they say is immortal, going between a polyp stage and its more mature phase, bouncing back between them, possibly forever. Nobody's observed it. But I really think that if you can do that in your own mind, this expansion and contraction, taking everything in and then mulling it over, watching, applying, watching, applying, learning, growing, maturing, steadying. If you can just vacillate easily between these two things, well, I'm not saying you'll live forever. You will live more peacefully. And perhaps a little bit longer. We're also going to call in, if you wouldn't mind, the firs or gorse. On. It blooms all through the year. These little coconut-scented yellow flowers. Quite lovely. Quite lovely. Remember what I said about like treating like? Well, these gorgeous little yellow flowers, when consumed in wine, they can be made into wine or beer, or they can be used to flavor whiskey. When enjoyed in that sense, they really do help with kidney trouble. Kidney trouble. You can also brew them into a tea if you like to take it slow and easy. If you want the more mature way of going about things, brew it into a tea. It really will help with kidney trouble. Jaundice, especially. Yellow treating yellow. And some tiger's eye, which I'm just going to stick down here. Good. On. Focusing on the gorse. It was also used in the Beltane fires, because it catches light very readily. It was also used for kindling. It's a friend of the fire, friend of the passions, and a great friend, a very great friend of travelers. I remember I was supposed to take a certain exam in my first year of university. Things coalesced for me that day. Things got a little bit knotted, a little bit complicated, and just really could not face doing it, so I took myself off for the day with no real destination in mind. But at that point in time, it was April. The gorse was really coming out fully. And I like to walk miles and miles and miles and miles when things get kind of complicated and knotted. I like just to walk. So I was taking this kind of high road, and all the gorse was blooming, and the scent of coconut was just incredible. And all my worries, it was incredible, just all my worries just kind of washed away. They just washed away. They just washed away. Great friend of the traveler, the Gorse. Zonar, put that into your cells, why don't we? Zonar symbol. This sense of traveling, of getting out of yourself, perspective. Tiger's eye, joined with that new jade, joined with that lapis lazuli, all working, soothing the throat, opening the heart, and allowing your real self to come up. Now, let's get those nuts out of you. Good. Got a little hawk's feather here. Also the friend of the traveler. I would be remiss, after all, if I were telling you to travel, if I were telling you to climb, if I were telling you to really break that horizon, not to give you a hawk's feather. Just dusting down your aura here. And getting rid of those knots. Untethering you. Untethering you. You feel yourself just kind of floating up on the wings of the hawk. Good. Wonderful. Wonderful. I would like to give you a last tree. And I had plenty in mind. The rowan, the pine. Wayfaring trees. And then I thought, well, we all have trees in our lives, whether we like it or not, unless we live in the middle of the desert. Even still, you're going to look for something to mark where you are, and there are trees in the desert, and unless you live in Antarctica, you're going to find one somewhere down the line. So I want you to picture an important tree in your life. One that's maybe been with you for a long while, or maybe just one that you pass by every day. This is going to be your way-marking tree. Just picture it growing tall, being one with it. Think of memories that you've had under or around it. It is going to mark the way home. And it is going to be your last tether, which you are not going to leave behind. Because you always need to come home. It's reassuring. No matter how far you venture, how far you go, you can always come home. You can always come home. So rise up with this little anchor point behind you. And let your imagination run. Just let your imagination run. And you can picture a landscape while you're up here. I was kind of a dreamy little kid. And I invite you to do this, by the way. Really think of who you were, what kind of mindset you were in as a child, because that is the expansive mind we were talking about. When we saw a landscape, a familiar landscape, say out of a bedroom window even, did it not as a child look a little bit different to the reality? Did you not think, I'd like to go there and there and there and there, even if you had already been there and there and there and there? Because the landscape that you see from a distance, it's like those little paintings made up of dots. From a distance, it is something entirely different from a more scrutinized reality. You're not seeing the dots. You're seeing what your mind is filling in this case, the imagination. Use that imagination to picture this gorgeous, new, pink and blue stained horizon. freedom, freedom, freedom. So tethered by that tree, the one tether that we have remaining. But you are unlocked, you're happy, you're at peace with this whole new realm of possibility. Just gonna put in a chakra for good measure. Chakra, powering up that Zonar, and let it flow into your body. Wonderful. Wonderful. Harmonizing at the cellular level with these trees that we've introduced to your system. Good. Good. Expanding and journeying. Expanding and journeying. Expanding and journeying. There we go. You're all listened up now. It's quite wonderful. All listened up. It's quite simple, really, when we look at it. We get so involved with these complications, these burdens, these ever-increasing and ever-denser situations. But once you step out of it and you really look, it just disentangles itself for the most part. Wonderful. You can stay up here for as long as you like. You are going to have to come down eventually. Just like the magic faraway tree, the adventure does have to end and you do have to come back down. But that doesn't mean that you can't climb back up again whenever you need. You do have to contract, but you can expand at your earliest convenience. Remember to vacillate. One always needs the other. One always needs the other. And that way, you can keep going on and on and on